Hi, it's good to be back with you. This is the in between, the space between what was and what is yet to be. My name is Camille. The in between is a map. It's a map of change and transformation. And there are 5 areas within the map. The first, the change cycle, which outlined to us what the outer experience of change feels like and looks like. Then we move to the inner landscape, which turns us inward, bringing greater compassion and respect to how we feel when we're moving through times of change, uncertainty, and rebirth. And now we are with the helpers, this wonderful realization that we don't walk alone, that we have guidance and guides along the way. Today, I want to talk about the mirror. And before I talk about the mirror, I want to touch on the last video, and that is the helper we call the weaver, because the weaver really is a pivot point in the journey. The weaver helps us realize that this isn't happening to us, it's happening through us. And at different times along the way, when we're steady enough, when we're able to look at things through the lens of the weaver, we realize that because we've had this shift, things are happening through us versus to us, we shift from being a victim, it's out of our control because it's happening to us, to being more of a co-creator of this experience. It's happening through us. And the weaver gives us this opportunity to use curiosity and other things we've been learning as a means by which we pause and ask ourselves, what am I weaving? What story am I telling about what I'm going through to myself, let alone other people? And so today, as we talk about the mirror, this too is a perfect placement after the weaver, because the mirror can be summed up with this statement: self-reflection for self-correction. The mirror reminds us that we are in an active role of creation while we're going through transformation. It's not massive, it's subtle, and yet there's tremendous power in that which is subtle. The mirror gives us an opportunity to realize that we are not here to be conditioned anymore by our past. We have outgrown that version of ourselves. We have shed the skin of who we used to be. And perhaps you, like me, are literally in the chrysalis right now. We're no longer who we were. We know that for sure. We're not quite sure who it is we're becoming. We have glimpses of it. We have flashes of insight about it. We even maybe can describe how we feel in this new version of ourselves. However, we're not yet there. And the mirror gives us a chance to use this exact moment to self-reflect on what is happening, to use the mirror's reflection for inquiry, for curiosity. Let me give you a few examples. It's super important in the new design model to embrace a new level of maturity, intellectual maturity, emotional maturity, and spiritual maturity. And the mirror helps us achieve that maturity quite simply. And it's by using what's happening in our lives as a reflection back to us so that we can be curious about what it's reflecting. Things like, why is this happening to me? Questions like, how might I use this in a way that can change who I am becoming? What is it about this situation that's calling on me to grow up, to mature, to perhaps correct my ways, my habits, my belief systems, how I feel about myself, my values, in a way that better aligns me with who it is I want to become? The mirror shows up in people, places, and situations. Nothing reflects back to us more clearly than our relationships. certainly our relationship with ourselves. But for today, let's use the relationships we are in with our friends, our partners, our families, our coworkers. There's a lot of mirrors out there in the world. In the old design model, when the reflection came in, we deflected it because the ego comes rushing in to protect, to defend, to explain. And so in the old design model, reflection wasn't about self correction, reflection was about projection. In the old design model, because we're often in the experience and the consciousness of a victim, we give it back. We don't accept it. This isn't mine. This is yours. People give us feedback about our behavior or the tone of our voice or how we're talking to them. And what do? In the old design model? We're quick to turn it back around. Well, what about this? Or, well, you do this, right? And what does that do? It makes us go around and around and around in circle. So it's good to compassionately take a look at how that might be true for you, because in the in-between, the mirror not only gives us an opportunity to look back and see how when reflection came in, we projected it back out, how reflection came in, we deflected it because the ego said, no, this isn't our fault. We shouldn't have to look at it. It's theirs, this, that. This is interesting. Is there something here that's important for me to look at? Maybe there isn't, but simply by asking the question, you are actively participating in self-reflection for self-correction, because we are here to become a new version of ourselves. And if we're not willing to self-reflect, if we're not willing to step outside of the pattern of our thinking, the pattern of our feelings, the pattern of our behavior that came out of the old way, it will take a much longer time to become who it is we say we're here to be. So let's say you're in a relationship and somebody says to you, we need to talk, right? Dun, 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 dun. That's how it felt like in the old design model. And you got yourself ready, right? But in the new design model, we relax. We don't take it as an attack. We approach it with curiosity. We're not saying we're going to accept immediately that something is our fault or there's something here for us to say or do differently, but we're willing to take the information through the filter of curiosity, questioning, discernment, and to see if in fact this person is a gift because they're mirroring back to us something that we have outgrown and perhaps we don't realize is still running the show. And so in that way, we want the feedback. And it takes a lot of guts to have a tough conversation. And so in the new design model, we try to meet those moments, mindful of our ego's default to rush in and protect. Hand on the heart. It's okay. We're good. We want to listen to what they have to say. We're not necessarily going to take it personally. However, we're willing to look and see if there's something here that we can correct, not just to benefit the relationship, but to benefit our own relationship with ourselves. I hope you can start to feel how different it can be when you look at the mirror and use the reflection as feedback, as information, because we are here to self-correct so we can move into alignment with who it is we say we want to become. And so when the mirror shows up in your life, be mindful immediately, as soon as you can, about your mind's resistance. Bring compassion to your mind's resistance. It feels like it's being attacked because it's in the old design model, whereas the heart is in the new design model. The heart is more open to hearing people's feedback, to taking it through our own filters of discernment and reflection and curiosity to see if in fact there is something there to consider. It is so liberating to step into this level of maturity. It's so helpful in the in-between to use moments of reflection to self-correct. It's a great sentence to take with you. I'm using reflection as an opportunity to correct, self-reflect to self-correct, or outer reflection coming towards me, holding up the mirror so that I can do the deep dive and to see if there's something here for me to do, to apologize for, to change, to consider, to contemplate. Here's another example. You're in a relationship, you're in a friendship, you're in a work environment, and somebody is giving you feedback about your behavior, about how you speak to them, about the tone of your voice. Now, of course, in the old design model, we would be immediately defensive, and we really wouldn't even be listening to what they're saying. But we're approaching it differently. We're recognizing that it may have been difficult for this person to be vulnerable in their honesty. So we want to make that as easy for them as possible. The second thing that's also true is that when they give us this information, we're already mindful of our mind's resistance to it. We want to come on their side and look at it from their perspective. There's nothing quite like that moment when you look at something from another person's perspective. It may not change your perspective, but perhaps it will. It might not change your posturing about something, but maybe it will. You never know. Your willingness to see something, to see yourself, your behavior, your words, whatever it is that you're dealing with, it's helpful to see it from another person's point of view. And that's why we get to say things like, I see what you're saying. I may not necessarily agree with it. I may have my own thoughts about it, but I can see what it is that you see about my behavior or how I'm speaking to you or the tone in my voice or whatever it is that you're dealing with. And you know what? I'm willing to take this in and to come back to you and see if there's anything more I can add. It is a game changer when you are walking through the in-between, when you are in the middle of uncertainty, chaos, confusion. To take on this kind of posturing, it's empowering. It's that feeling of, okay, I'm definitely in something right now. I cannot even see or feel into who it is I used to be. I'm not necessarily seeing in real form, in real time, who I am becoming. I'm trusting. I'm walking. I'm using this map to help me better understand what I'm navigating and how I can better walk with it. And that is what the mirror offers us when we are in the in-between. That's why it is such an amazing helper, because not only does it help us change the way we experience feedback from life, people, circumstances, situations, but it begins to put us in that empowered place of co-creator, where we may not be able to change or affect what is happening, but we absolutely can decide by considering and being curious and using the mirror's reflection for self-correction, how we're going to walk with what's happening, how it is that we are going to talk about it, how it is that we are in alignment with who it is we are becoming. It's always great to come back to these videos and see some of your comments about how this information is landing with you. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you have an example of maybe using the mirror in your own life in a way that allowed you to self-correct? Because I'll tell you something, I have been using the mirror big time for the last year or so. In the beginning, it wasn't easy. Everything pushed up against me. However, because I'm committed to my evolution, because I'm committed to who it is I'm becoming next, I met those moments with compassion because I understood the pushback. But I don't want my ego mind driving the car of my transformation. I want my heart to drive. I want the divine mind to drive. I'd rather have the ego in the passenger seat, or better still, in the back seat, a part of the journey, but not directing the walk. Thanks so much for listening. If you're vibing with what we're doing here, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for coming back and continuing this journey together in the in-between.